I come on the air and I talk about games. Very rarely do I talk about a game, and it turns out exactly like I thought. And I said, the Rams' corners are hurt. The Vikings going to pass the ball. It's going to be a great, wild shootout. A lot of yards, a lot of points. But in the end, Jared Goff's better than Kirk Cousins. He's going to make a couple of throws. You're going to go, wow. And that's what you saw last night. And the Rams are going to win a close, wild, crazy game with a lot of yards. And that's exactly what you got. And the other reason I could predict that is because this is what the Rams have been giving you every Sunday for the last 2 years. Yeah. 10 yards of play, 13 yards of pass, multiple weapons. Folks, this is the best offense I have seen in the NFL, top to bottom, coaching to punter to kicker for a decade. This is it. Left tackle, great. Right tackle, great. Quarterback, running back, tight ends, coach, coordinators. Great, 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 great. They had 6 third downs all night. They don't even get to third down. Minnesota had a bunch of yards. They had 16. Late in the game, they had only 3 third downs all night. By the way, Jared Goff had the highest quarterback rating ever. Perfect quarterback rating. Let me look this up. This is noteworthy. Yes, he had 158 quarterback rating and the most pass attempts for anybody ever with a perfect passer rating. And here's what's interesting. So many people in the NFL are calling him a system quarterback, and here's why. Because when he first came into the league, he inherited Jeff Fisher's high school coaching staff, a terrible offensive line, no weapons, and he was on Hard Knocks, and the optics, he looked skinny, he looked lost, he had to learn to take a snap under center, and the optics were terrible. And then they brought in Sean McVay, and they went heavy on receivers and left tackle, and suddenly you're like, oh, but everybody's giving McVay all the credit on this team. No, it's a 50-50 deal here, folks. McVay's not making those reads, and McVay's not making those throws. And he did it again. We predicted it. He'd make a couple of throws, and you would go, oh, my God, that's why he's the number one pick. And he made a couple of perfect throws last night that 90% of the guys who have ever played this position can't make. It just proves nobody can do it alone. Michael Jordan, before Scottie Pippen, was 0-6 against the Celtics. Kobe Bryant, after Shaq left and before Gasol, a 7 seed and missed the playoffs. Bill O'Reilly did nothing in his career for 20 years. He found Roger Ailes, then dominated cable for 25 years. Everybody understands how good Mahomes is because you didn't watch him on Hard Knocks, and he wasn't terrible. He sat the first year. And everybody understands how good Carson Wentz is because he had some success in the first year. And we get how good Andrew Luck is. It is not an insult to say system quarterback. All the great ones have a great coach. Mostly offense now, it used to be defense. But this is the way it works. When you get a super clever, creative, high IQ football coach and you put him with a tall, good arm, smart, driven, aspirational, coachable quarterback, this is what happens. This is as good an offense as the NFL has had, and I can't remember the last time. But the media and the fans, because of the optics of Hard Knocks and that Jeff Fisher high school coaching staff, they think this is all McVay. No, by the way, Andy Reid, he wouldn't putting up these numbers with Alex Smith. It's Mahomes. And by the way, Matt Nagy is super smart, but he's limited because it's Mitch Trubisky. You do not do what happened last night with most quarterbacks. You don't. You go look at Sean Payton's career. He didn't put up these numbers with the other quarterbacks. He's putting them up with Drew Brees. Kyle Shanahan had his best year as a coach, not with Matt Schaub. It was with Matt Ryan. So I think, Brady, Belichick, Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan. We all knew Belichick was smart pre-Brady. We all knew Popovich won pre-Duncan. But when they became legends, they had the guy. So for all the fans and all the media that are sitting around before last night going, it's mostly McVay. No. You put Trubisky in that Rams offense. You put Kirk Cousins in that Rams offense. You put Andy Dalton in that Rams offense. You're not getting that. You saw those throws last night. This is not a 75-25 McVay lean. It's not. It's a 50-50 split. And this is how it works in the NFL now. You're seeing the formula. Clever, high IQ coach with a coachable, world-class arm talent. I mean, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman told a great story last night when they first saw Jared Goff, and Troy compared it to his early career. He goes, everybody was killing Aikman out of college because his first year in the NFL, he was terrible. And Jimmy Johnson said, no, we saw the talent, just like Jared Goff. We saw the talent, but we had to get him the right guy. Michael Jordan needed Pippen. Belichick needed Brady. Pop needed Duncan. Bill O'Reilly needed Roger Ailes. Like Patrick Mahomes needs Andy Reid, but Andy wouldn't be putting up these numbers without Patrick Mahomes. And so Aikman's story last night is right on. Jimmy Johnson told me, he goes, we knew Aikman was special, but he needed a left tackle, he needed a running back, he needed a deep threat, and he needed a mentor because Jimmy's a defensive guy. They got him one, and you have a Hall of Famer. Let me segue to this, though. So not just the Rams, but the Vikings wide receiving core. Last night, there were 5 guys who play wide receiver, 5 different players who had over 100 yards. Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs. I'm not sure I've watched a game in the NFL with more wide receiver talent than last night. And I can't be the only person that's thinking what I'm going to say. The Rams' number 3 receiver is significantly better than Brady's number 1 receiver. Were Tom Brady and Gronk last night watching that game? You know they were. And you know they were texting each other. And they were saying, can you believe this? Can you believe what's going on? I mean, last night, Rams in Minnesota, that was an auto show. There were Maseratis, and there were Aston Martins, and there were Bentleys, and there were Lamborghinis. And those were good defenses, and they tore them up. Tom Brady's over here saying, I got a Honda Civic, I got a Dodge Neon, can I get some help over here? You know Brady was watching that thing last night, and he is bitter. I mean, the leading receivers for New England against Detroit. Chris Hogan had 3 catches for 31 yards. Cordarrelle Patterson had a catch for 17. And Philip Dorsett was targeted 5 times and he had no catches. And Bill Belichick's blind spot, drafting in college, has been wide receiver. He's not good at it. And he drafted a receiver once, Chad Jackson High, and he was a complete and utter whiff. He just doesn't do it. He goes and gets his wide receivers from the NFL because Belichick's gun shy to draft a receiver high. He doesn't do well with it. He goes in the league and finds guys. But I don't remember the ball hitting the ground last night, other than when the Rams punter threw the ball. And I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers are not making a call to get him in their quarterback rotation. I've been saying for years that wide receivers are icing on the cake. The cake is the offensive line, the coach, and the quarterback. But with 2 rule changes this offseason, we talked about this, Joy, there's been 2 rule changes. Both were very pro-wide receiver. The catch rule, we haven't had one discussion so far this year, what's a catch? Instead of the discussions we used to have, which were, what's a catch? The discussion now is, wow, what a catch. That is a massive rule change. And the late hit penalty. So you can't touch a receiver off the line. You now can't hit him. They now got the catch rule flipped toward their advantage. And I always said that wide receivers were icing on the cake. They make the cake better, but it's the cake. You know what they are now? Wide receivers, due to those 2 rule changes, are icing on a cupcake. They matter more. They matter a lot. Cupcakes are fine, but the icing goes a long way to make the cupcake. And you're seeing it right now. We have not had a single discussion that I can remember in the first month of the season about what's a catch. It's all now, whoa, what a catch. There's a reason GMs in this league, remember, Joy, we talked about this in August.
Yep.
Why are wide receivers getting massive money now by smart NFL teams? This is why. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't touch the receiver. You can't hit them, and they flipped the catch rule in favor of the receiver instead of in favor of the defense. And since Belichick's arrived in 2000 in New England, they've never drafted a receiver in the first round. They've only taken 4 in the second round, and 3 of the 4 were absolute whiffs. So he's not good at the college wide receiver thing. He'll go get a Chris Hogan. He'll go get a Wes Welker. He doesn't draft receivers well. They don't. And look, Brady and Gronk had to be watching that auto show last night. I mean, that was just Maseratis and Lamborghinis. That was Bentleys. And Brady's over here texting Gronk, I got a Dodge Neon.
Well, they're relying on Brady to make it work.
And, I mean, when you were watching that game last night, that was a Pro Bowl set of wide receivers. I mean, it was just like great catch, great route, wide open, on the run. I don't remember the last NFL game I watched with that many good wide receivers. Possession guys, speed guys. Good Lord. There's no way Brady and Gronk watch that and don't just go, this is why when Brady lost to Detroit, he had that soundbite. He wasn't angry. He was defeated. He sees what he's dealing with here. God, that was an auto show last night. God, that was impressive. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.